What will be your priorities if you said 1, 2, 3?
Well, one of my priorities is to work with the police departments. I know right now that they are having difficulties because of their lack of personnel. And so I want to, continue to rebuild a good working relationship with them, to do training with them, so that they understand our expectations for investigations, and, so that they can build up their numbers again, and communicating this is an honorable profession. There are bad apples in every single profession that I've ever heard of, but that does not make the profession dishonorable, and they need to get their numbers up, and to the extent that I can contribute to that, I want to do that. I've also put a big priority on organized retail theft. It's increasing, and the level of violence is increasing within our community, and that's not acceptable. We're seeing people come in from out of state to do their crimes here, and we need to get on top of that.
How has the transition been, and are you ready to lead this department and the office into the future? And how do you make that transition happen after all the turmoil that's been there?
Wow. Well, we really hit the ground running when I took over, because we knew there had to be some really quick transitions, not the least of which was getting more people in the door. Because not only were we 20% down in personnel, but I found out the day after I was sworn in that another 20% were retirement eligible by the end of the year. So we did a very aggressive recruitment campaign. It's going great. I also had to address a number of backlogs, and so putting priorities on those to get those down has been a very big part of what we've been doing. That includes officer-involved shootings, aggravated DUI. And then we've also been addressing some of the things that happened. So, for example, I'm working with some of the police chiefs on putting together a demonstration protocol. And you'll see my child abuse background in that, because we always worked under a multidisciplinary protocol for best practices. And so we're putting together best practices so that we can, at the same time, preserve people's First Amendment rights to protest, but also draw the line clearly with the law and what crosses over that line into criminal behavior, and then the proper handling of that by police, as well as the proper handling of that by my office.
Obviously, these are lessons that have been learned at the expense of protesters in the last few years.
They were, it was hard watching it from kind of the part of the office I was in, and I don't want to see that happen again.
Let me ask you this, right? Mm-hmm. You've been a longtime prosecutor here. You've obviously had a voice. When you saw the headlines about the protest cases, did you try to speak up? Did you say, Adel, we can't be doing this, or tell anybody?
Yeah, actually, in my role, I was part of the prosecution integrity unit. I actually started it. And so while I wasn't in any of the meetings that surrounded the decision making, I was asked to take a look at the August 9th, specifically 2020 protest that was outside of the police headquarters at 620. And what I found was overcharging. And I reviewed hundreds of hours of body-worn camera and the police reports and the grand jury transcripts, and I put a PowerPoint together and presented it to executive leadership and said, this is overcharged. These charges should be dropped. And so I did. And it's because of what I saw in that. Obviously, I have terminated the prosecutor that was responsible for some of that, and I don't want that to happen again.
What do you do when it comes to past cases where, so many of these cases, right, end up in a plea agreement, right? And however, some of the prosecutors involved in some of these past cases have a history of overcharging or maybe misleading the grand jury that we've seen. Mm-hmm. At what point do you go back and look at these cases that have already been resolved in a plea agreement or otherwise and say, is there more that we can do here if there's been a miscarriage of justice?
Yeah, so I started the prosecution integrity unit, and some of that involved reviewing concerns expressed by prosecutors about things they saw on body-worn cameras. But the vast majority of the work of that unit is to look at convictions where there is a concern about actual innocence or claim of actual innocence, or where there's a concern about state misconduct, whether that be police or prosecutors, that basically overrides the integrity of the case. And I've continued that on.
Of course, a big issue in the last few weeks has been the abortion issue and the PIMA Superior Court's ruling with the let's call it the 1901 law.
Okay.
For the lack of a better term, the 1901 law, the territorial era law, which bans abortion in most instances in Arizona. You said that you won't prosecute women. Would you be willing to prosecute abortion providers or people who were taking women to seek abortions somewhere in state or out of state?
So I want to be very clear about the women. I will not prosecute women for getting an abortion, and the law does actually not allow that. And I've likewise said, in response to some things that others have said, I am not going to re-victimize victims of rape, incest, and molestation.
Well, we know that by opinion polls that the vast majority of Arizonans want there to be abortion services available to women, at least in the first trimester or first and second trimester, at some point in there. So does that mean that you don't plan to prosecute cases?
It means I plan to wait and see what the court is going to say the law is. And if the legislature is going to act to clarify which of those two laws they want to control. And then once that happens and it's clear what the law is, if I get a case, I will review it in terms of a reasonable likelihood of conviction.
How do you rebuild the reputation of your office?
You know, my mom used to say, when somebody says something bad about you, you've got to live it down. And I'm living it down. I'm showing up every day. I'm conveying my message. I've met with every single new employee that has started since I took over the office to convey my vision of justice. I'm telling it to my supervisors in the office, and where we find errors, we're correcting them. I've made it clear. I even met with the defense bar, the leaders of the public defender's offices, and I said, look, I'm not about this overcharging, so if you're seeing that, call me. I want to correct